Hi, this is Daniela Wolf with Bestie Life, the podcast, and this is your community to support you through the little and not so little events that make up your day-to-day life. From the I've got this moments to the I just can't moments. We are here to empower all women to find and develop the skills they need to find peace, balance, and the bliss in their busy. Through solo episodes as well as interviews with amazing women who share their journey and their story and how it works for you. I hope you find the inspirations to make you laugh, think, as well as maybe rethink what you thought you knew, and connect as we realize that we are all living similar ups and downs and don't have to do it alone. So excited for you to hear this episode, and thanks so much for joining me today. Daniela with Bestie Life, the podcast. And today you guys are going to love this episode. I have the ladies from Bear and Below podcast in Buffalo, New York. It's Cassie Panaro and Kathleen Mitchell. And they are two girlfriends who get together and talk all things from fashion to background to therapy to life to just everything, dealing with your jobs, your spouses, your friends. And they're hilarious. If you haven't listened to their podcast, they are so much fun. You literally feel like you're sitting down and hanging out with your girlfriends, and it's just awesome. So I've had the privilege to get to meet them, and I'm so excited to be able to share them with you today. So thank you so much, Cassie and Kathleen, for joining me today.
Oh my gosh, we're so happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you so much, Daniela. What a great introduction. I'm so flattered.
I feel like that doesn't even encompass half of what you guys share and bring to the ladies that listen to your podcast. So if you can share a little bit more about what led you to doing this, what kind of things even that you've taken away from it, and we'll kind of take off from there.
Sounds awesome. Well, hello, everybody. Thanks again for allowing us to join Daniela's awesome podcast. So this is Cassandra or Cassie, Cass, whatever. I have like 5 different names. But just to kind of give you a little bit of background of where Kathleen and I came up with the idea to have this podcast, Bear and Below. And the name, bearing our souls for all of our listeners. Below is what they call Buffalo in Buffalo, New York. But it's so much more than just being a local podcast too. It is really for everybody. Kathleen and I, we've been friends for over 10 years. And what really connected us to, taking it to that next level with our friendship was, we started talking about people pleasing, and like Daniela said, fashion. We're both very empathetic people, but then, we both started talking about how we just want to be better, how we want to overcome things from our past, and how do we get there? We've been through so much in our lives. So for about 2 years ago, we were having these really amazing conversations on the daily, literally 24/7.
Yep.
24/7.
Yes.
And we kept saying, we need to do something with this information. Like, we have to get this out into the world. We have to try and inspire some other people, even if we only inspire one other person. Like, we know this is going to help somebody. And so Kathleen was actually on her way to Ellicottville, and she's like, I just wrote a bunch of things in my notes, and we're like, we're doing a podcast. Like, let's just go. Let's go, baby. And we both ordered microphones. We had them by Christmas, and the rest is history.
I love it. That's just such a great story to take your passion and turn it into a purpose.
Yeah. And it really is our passion. I mean, Kath, I know you can.
Yeah, definitely. And this is Kathleen, by the way. I'm the other half of the Bear and Below podcast, but we definitely wanted to take our passion and put it to good use. And I think since then, we've had such a shared desire to inspire others out there to overcome their own hardships. And we like to do that through our own difficult life experiences that we've had. So through our own personal journeys. And we really do talk about it all. For sure. And like, we love the vibe to just be like girlfriend therapy for everybody.
Yes. And I definitely want to dive into that a little bit more, because while definitely there's no substitute for clinical therapy if you are dealing
Right.
with a true mental illness. But I think those day-to-day ugs, hiccups, stresses, overwhelm, things like that, having that network of people to kind of deal with. So like, what does girlfriend therapy look like or feel like to you? What are some of the benefits, and how can somebody find it if they're kind of not sure how to create that in their space?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you think about the people in your life, so a girlfriend or girlfriends that you can just trust with everything, Cassie and I kind of always envision ourselves at brunch. We start by sitting down laughing, and then we're crying, and then we're laughing again. It's basically this space where you can purge your deepest, darkest secrets, and then your friend is holding your hand through it, not judging you, and then you guys can just have laughs together afterward because it's all going to be okay. It's a little bit more of an informal connection that you have in your life versus in a professional setting with a therapist. I
Right.
think the two are equally important. You need both of those in your lives.
But I love that vulnerability in a trusting, non-judgmental space.
Mhm.
So powerful.
It
It
really
really
is.
is. Yeah. Oh, Jinx, you owe me a Pepsi.
Oh, I was always a Coke.
Oh, you always say a Coke. Okay. But yeah, having both spaces. And that's why we say, and especially we reiterate our tagline when we are having maybe a heavier episode, because we do try having a balance between a fun episode or a little bit deeper of an episode that could possibly be a little triggering. We give those warnings, but we always remind our listeners that we are not therapists. We've just been to one, because we by no means want to sound like we're preaching or like, oh, you have to listen to us. Whatever advice we give you, listen to us. And if you don't, you're going to be out of luck. Or, we're not trying to replace you, Daniela, or anybody in your line of work. We just really want to make sure that we're just giving that advice like we are friends with all of our
Mhm.
listeners. And maybe one little thing can touch and help them and make them think a way that they didn't think before.
That's such a good point, Cassie. We really just give advice that we would give to our own girlfriends. It's basically the advice we were giving to each other at the inception of our whole
Yes.
business. And we want our listeners to feel like they're part of our group, like we're all girlfriends. Like that's really how we like our listeners to feel, that they're not alone in this world. Like you can count on us to be there for you.
And you guys definitely do that successfully. You help convey that vibe. You help people feel like they've already met you.
Aw,
As you guys get
thanks.
famous, people start to be like
Oh, yeah.
coming up to you like they already know you, like your best friends, because it is just that relatability, which I love, because it doesn't matter. I know one of you is a mom, one of you is not a mom, and it doesn't matter, because I think those experiences, those stresses, that need for connection and coping, it's universal.
It is for sure.
So
Yeah.
what are some of the things that you guys do then to like individually take care of yourselves, because you do though live such different lifestyles?
Yeah. So I'll go first. This is Cassie. So I love yoga. I do hot yoga a
Ooh.
couple
Ooh.
times a week. I love to sweat it out, baby. And
What is it, like 200 degrees in there or something?
It's so
I don't-
hot in those rooms.
It is, and I love it. I love to sweat. It makes me feel so much better after. But my hot yoga, the classes that I do are amazing. You start out meditating, and then you kind of get into more of an intense type of yoga flow. But then the last like 15 minutes of class is stretching, and then you end it meditating again. So that really sets the tone. Like, we were on vacation. I haven't done it in 2 weeks, and I feel it. Like I feel it. I have to go tomorrow morning because I'm just, I don't know, like restless leg syndrome type of feeling, and just, I need to reset. I also
You got to sweat those toxins out, girl.
I know, from vacation and what's going on in my brain, like both of them. But so I do that in tennis. I just picked up a few years ago that I love. So I do that for my mental health. And then some other things that I like to do, like I feel better when my nails are done. These are my real nails, by the way. Kath, you might not be able to say the same. No, I'm just teasing.
Yeah, but look at them. They're just like half missing. I need to go to the nail salon. I was like, oh my God, please don't say anything about my nails right now because they look terrible.
Oh, well, of course, that's why I had to call you out. But no, I love you. But I don't necessarily like to sit and get my nails done. Not that that's relaxing to me at all, but I feel so good after I get my nails done. It makes me feel more confident. So those are the few things that I do for myself.
Those are
Yeah.
fantastic. Kath, what do you do?
Well, I really liked what you said in our episode, Daniela, about how self-care doesn't have to be an hour or
Mhm.
couple hour long thing. It could be a couple of minutes in your day. So there's a few things that I've been incorporating. One of them is, it might sound a little bit silly, but I've always loved to dance. I did dancing, gymnastics, cheerleading growing up, and yeah, obviously there's not really a lot of opportunity for adults to dance. So whenever I have music playing in the kitchen when I'm cooking or anything like that, and a really good song comes on, I don't care like if my husband thinks I'm crazy, but like I sometimes will I'll just like feel the music and I'll just dance. And like sometimes I take it a little too seriously, like I'll start dropping low and stuff, but it makes me feel so good. And like I'll have like the wooden spoon in my hand and I'll be like stirring and like, moving around. And it's like one of those like little moments for myself. It's just for me. It's not for my husband. It's not for my daughter. It's not for my house. It's just for me. It makes me feel so, so good. So I'm actually doing that lately, and it really has made a difference in my day.
Yes, I love that, Kat.
Yeah, and drop low while you still can, because if I went down, I would not get back up. I get stuck. So I love that.
Well, it's not pretty, so but yeah.
But that is the best way, to not worry about what it's going to look like, how others are going to think about it, because that's when we start to get in our head again. And those are the things that trip us up. And that's not going to be helpful, because you're going to be self-conscious the whole entire time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So when it comes to putting all these things together and coming up with your episodes, is there like a formula you guys have to come up with those episodes and that synergy and that type of thing? Or is it all just so spontaneous?
I'll take this one. Well, because it took us so long to officially launch the podcast, because neither of us are very tech savvy, and we do record remote, so it took us a while to get there. We had an opportunity to be writing content along the way, so we have about 25 to 30 pages of content. And what we both do basically is whenever something comes to our brain, we would jot it down. And so we launch with quite a bit of stuff that we want to talk about. And then as we're going, we'll just come up with an idea. Cassie will message me, I'll message her, hey, what do you think about this? And then we kind of take it off from there. But we've been defining it as we're going to, like what people are responding to, what they like. So I don't know, Cassie, do you have anything more to add to that?
Yeah. And, we might have something set for, okay, this week we're going to talk about this. Next week we're going to talk about that. But there's been a few times where we've been really inspired by maybe something we saw or something that me and Kathleen were talking about, just as friends. Like that happened last week. We talked on the phone, we recorded, and then Kathleen and I talked on the phone for an hour and a half after we recorded. And just as friends, and we both were like, oh my God, this is so nice just to talk as friends, because we've only been talking about the podcast. We talk 24/7, but it's been all podcast, which is awesome. But that hour and a half conversation, after we hung up, we're like, oh my, why weren't we recording this whole time? So we inspired each other, by just having normal daily conversations. So we will switch it up if we get inspired by something else, or if we're like, you know what, let's not do 2 heavy episodes in a row. I think we need to lighten it up this week and talk about something funny, or something relatable for everybody across the board, where they're not going to feel so drained after listening. So we do switch it up sometimes.
But that's really how, again, the whole thing started, was just Cassie and I having these conversations and just feeling like we need to bring this to the masses. Like we need to talk about this. So it's a lot of that for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
And Daniela, I have a quick question for you, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So not to derail what you had to come next, but my question to you would be, there's a couple of heavier topics that Kathleen and I have maybe wanted to talk about, but it's going to be heavy for
Mhm.
even me and her to talk about, like, let's say maybe, you know, an episode about our daddy issues, whatever. So we think that could be really impactful for our listeners to hear.
Mhm.
We've been a little nervous to record it because we know we're going to have to deep dive. So
Yeah.
maybe even a little, you know, judgy, like what if my stepmom or my stepsister or somebody hears it, you know? So do you have any advice for us on some of those topics?
Yeah, and I'm loving this behind the scenes podcast conversation we're
Yeah,
having, because I
yeah.
think people don't always know what goes into it,
Yeah,
you
so
know,
much.
and the kind of things that, as someone who puts one out, you don't always know how it's going to be received, and you do
Yeah.
second guess and stuff. But as you were talking, I was thinking, even to break, if it's possible, to break it down into micro episodes, because it might be a little bit almost like a series, because it might be a
Mhm.
little bit easier to process it and digest it in smaller pieces. 'Cause I
Yeah.
think the whole big of it, if you listen to it, you might be like, okay, now I'm
Yeah.
set, you know, because it's draining sometimes when you're
Yes.
dealing with heavy stuff. So that might be a way to approach it, if you can break it into like little subsets and
Oh, I love that.
and break it down
I'm
that
writing
way.
that down right now because that is a wonderful idea. Thank you so much.
It
And,
is.
and then the other part is, I would just be honest about some of the people that might be mentioned in it. Like, this is impersonal. My intent is not to hurt your feelings, but I'm telling my truth. And hopefully if we have questions, we can talk about it, so that they know up front, you know, that they can come to you and not feeling like, well, what did she mean? Why is she saying that? I can't go ask them, that type of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing that, because, you know, it is nerve-wracking when you're sharing so much of your information, and as me and Kathleen being, you know, empaths and
Mhm.
people pleasers, you know, we're sometimes nervous to share certain things because we don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, but we know that this can be very helpful. So thank you
Yeah.
for giving
And
that
it's
little
hard too,
tidbit.
because like, even when I mention my kids or things like that, like, it's interesting, as we've talked about some of the different things over the years, that we each have our own version of the same events sometimes. And I'm
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
surprised to hear theirs. And I'm like, really? I'm like, I thought that was a great time. What do you mean? You know,
Oh
or
God.
something like that. And so it's, you know, it's interesting to break those things down, and it can be hard, but it can also be so helpful just to see the lens that everybody looks at the same situations from.
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because it doesn't matter if you're planning a podcast or if you're living your day-to-day life.
Yeah.
That's how everybody shows up, is from their own perspective and their own lens of how they're taking in the situations. And the way that you guys talk about it on the podcast, though, I think is part of what helps people not feel alone and feel like, oh
Mhm.
gosh, they did the same thing. I know that episode you had, Kathleen, about talking about your Italian family. I was like, yep,
Oh yeah.
mine exactly. You know?
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the whole point of it, is that connection is what creates not only the community, but just that sense of belonging and happiness, so that
Yes.
we don't feel like we're alone in that journey.
Yeah, and I also feel like our listeners are hearing real time me and Cassie heal from some things that maybe we thought we were good on, or maybe we didn't even realize was an issue. Like, there's been some episodes that have been so therapeutic for me and have made me kind of put some other things to rest that have been bothering me or I've had problems with. So it really is such a community with the listeners.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And so one of the things I always ask my guests as well is when it comes to gratitude, because I think we can focus on the downsides and the bad moments, but putting that energy into what went well, or just what made us smile that day, is how we can also practice self-care. So if you each of you can share just a couple of things that, you know, you're grateful for.
Cassie, you
Yeah.
go first.
Okay, will do. You know, I when I've been asked that before, and we talked about it when you were a guest on our podcast, is writing down three things, you know, my cup of coffee and, you know, some smaller things. But when I really think about it, when you first say that, what are you grateful for? I am grateful for my life. I am just grateful to be alive. And I know that could sound deep or big or whatever, but I am just grateful to be alive, to be breathing, to be able to the drive to work today that I have the opportunity to even do that, because life is just so short, and it's already September 28th. Like, what the hell happened to the summer, to September? So I'm just grateful to be alive, to be healthy. My family is healthy. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I am just so grateful to even be sitting here talking to you two right now.
Yes. If you look at Cassie's Instagram, like her personal one, her picture is her. Like, I think you're along a pool with your leg in the air, and there's a little, I think you're in Thailand. Oh, Niagara Falls. Okay.
Thailand.
I knew you're by water, but there's a word of it just says living. You've had that for years. So this is like so you that this is what you're grateful
my leg
for.
is in the air, the water's behind me, and I am just living.
It says it, living.
Yep, it literally says living right above.
Yes.
So
that's awesome. Kath?
I thought a lot about this, and truth be told, I think what I am most grateful for, besides the obvious, my daughter, my husband, my dog, I'm really grateful for the strength and the ability that I've had to heal from my past. I know there's so many people out there that have had horrible things happen to them, and it's been so bad for them that they don't have the strength or they don't have the ability to make certain changes to better your life and get to a healthy place mentally, physically, spiritually. And even though I have had some bad things happen to me and life hasn't always been easy for me, I am grateful for that strength that I was given at some point to get myself to the next place. So that would be mine.
Thank you. So where can people find you and listen to Bear and Below?
You can find us on or listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Stitcher. And just type in Bear, BAREIN, and then BLO. So Bear in Below. And you can find us on there. That is also our Instagram handle. And we have a couple things on TikTok. We're working on it. It's getting there. We just posted a funny one last night, but Instagram is the best way to have a conversation with us. DM us if you have any questions, but that's where you can find us.
Awesome. And all those links will be live in the show notes. So definitely reach out to these ladies with your comments, your questions, because they are amazing and want to be there for you. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Daniela.
Thank you for having us. This was awesome.
This was so much fun. I can't wait to see you guys again soon.
Yes, for sure.
Thank you
so much again for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please let me know any questions or comments that you have. Also, if you can please leave an Apple 5-star review so that this episode can be shared with more women. There's 2 quotes that I love. Alone we may be strong, but together we are stronger, as well as when women support each other, incredible things happen. So let's be stronger and incredible together, as well as maybe just have some fun along the way. Thanks so much and talk to you soon. Bye.